All right, I'm here with Dr. Justin Mosley. He is the mindset doctor. We're here at the Black Diamond Club in Nashville conference, Abundance and Overflow. Yeah. And man, welcome to the show, dude.
Glad to be here, man. It's been a while since we connected, so
yeah,
excited.
Excited to talk to you, man. I've followed you for the last couple of years, the mindset doctor. You had a couple TEDx speeches, doing a lot of really cool work. But what I'm curious to know about from you is this pivot. Like, you weren't always the mindset doctor.
Right.
Like, that's what you're known for now, TEDx speaker, world-renowned speaker. But that's not what you were always known for. So talk about just kind of that development for people that don't know you and kind of the pivot to where you're at right now.
Yes, I'm a chiropractor by trade. My wife's a chiropractor as well. We opened a practice just outside of Nashville here 12 years ago. Just celebrated 12-year anniversary of our clinic and built a great clinic, helping people, making a difference. And fast forward to 2018, I actually had a near-death accident. So that's what shifted everything for me. So I went whitewater rafting on a men's retreat. And it was just a freak accident. Hit some class 5 rapids, the raft tips over. I was sitting on the back of the raft and I got trapped underneath the rapid itself. And it pushed me underwater. And I still remember the sound of my helmet scraping down the rocks. I was being pushed under.
By the way, you're a super fit guy. And I'm pretty fit. And I've heard of whitewater rafting being it can be dangerous. I would never think in a million, whatever, man. I know how to swim too. I'm a good swimmer.
Yeah.
I'm not great, but I'm a good swimmer. And so I'm just curious, were
you
even
surprised? It was just a freak thing because it was normal. The guides tell you beforehand, hey, the rafts flip over all the time. You just lay there, your life jacket floats you to the top.
Exactly.
And you just get
I have a
swept
life
down the
jacket.
river.
What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah, so, and there was, it was a normal thing because there was hundreds of people lining the banks. They just watch people flip over. They're just there to cheer.
Yeah.
But because I got trapped underneath the rapid, and it all happened in slow motion. Because I remember thinking, okay, flip over, lay there, float to the top, get swept down the river. That's what we were told.
Exactly.
But because I was under the rapid, it was pushing me under. And the last thing I remember thinking is, I'm not coming back up. And all of a sudden I got wedged between two rocks. And I lost consciousness. Everything went black, and then everything went bright white. And it was the most peaceful, serene feeling I'd ever felt. And then I hear this voice that said, wake up. And thankfully I did, because I came back to consciousness, and I was wedged between two rocks. And I tried to push, and I didn't budge.
You're still underwater this whole time?
Still underwater, yeah, trapped between those two rocks.
You're
Yeah, conscious, waking up, held underwater. If anybody's ever been held underwater for too long, you freak out. That adrenaline kicks in. And thankfully I did. I mean, we've heard stories superhuman strength of women lifting cars off of their kid to save them. So thankfully, this strength came over me. I was able to break one of the buckles of my life jacket and float to the top, got swept down the river. And man, I was rocked. We all question our purpose in life. Why are we here? But after that, I asked a different question. I was why am I still here? Because things could have been different. What if I didn't hear wake up? Or what if I wasn't strong enough to break free? I'm still here for a reason. And one of the biggest lessons I learned from that was I'd gotten comfortable in life because business was good. I was living my purpose. I was helping people. I was making a difference. But I realized I was called to go so much bigger. And I was playing way too small. And I knew if I truly wanted to step into the calling that God had on my life, I need to exchange my comfort for my calling. So I was okay, no more playing small, being comfortable. I'm going to step out and just make a bigger impact. And I didn't know what that looked like. I mean, I was a chiropractor. That's all I knew. I was helping people and making a difference. But I look back at my life and I was I love mindset, personal development, leadership. It's what led to the success in business.
Yep.
So I was I just want to put out content that helps people. I don't know if you've ever felt this, but I just started putting stuff out. I was I don't know if anybody's going to listen. Let's just go. Let's just put it out there. And people were listening. I started a Facebook group the first of 2020, and 1,000 people joined in the first month. So I was okay, people are listening. So from there, I started just speaking, and I was speaking at a mastermind group, and one dude was dude, you're the mindset doctor. I was hey, I like that. I'm going to run with it. So it became the brand, and I just started speaking on it. I launched mastermind groups, coaching, retreats, doing all the stuff, and man, it's been a blast. It led to me doing a TED Talk in 2022, and now I just did a recent TED Talk here that just came out on YouTube. So it's been a lot of fun, a lot of speaking, coaching, and just trying to help people as much as I can.
So cool. So what was the first step or the first thing? Because anytime you start something new, like you said, you're man, I don't know what I'm being called to do. It's something. I'm being too comfortable. Was there a conversation with your wife or something? And how long before you're And I know you mentioned that first piece of content, and then you're like, man, I guess people are listening. But what was it that, what was some of the first action steps that you took that helped you find that
There was a season of processing. Because at first, I didn't even tell my wife after it first happened, because she wasn't on the trip with us, the men's retreat. She actually picked us up, and I was just kind of silent, like, in that what just happened phase. Like, I need to process this and contemplate it. But then I just kind of look back at my life, and I think that's for anybody, what we have to do is, there's things that we've gone through in our life. There's lessons that we've learned. There's obstacles we've overcome. We went through that for a reason. Like, how can we use that to impact others? So for me, I looked at, okay, all the stuff that I was passionate about, I can package that and give that to other people. And at first, like, you go through the imposter syndrome of like, well, I learned stuff from Tony Robbins and Jack Canfield and all these people. Well, they can just learn from them. But what I realized is, they don't want to hear from them. Yes, they'll study them, but they don't have access to them. They get access to us. They can watch our content. They can DM us on Instagram, actually have conversations with us. They can get coaching from us. So people want to hear your story. They want to hear your message. They want to hear the content you put out. They want to hear your take on the things that you've learned along the way. Because people just don't need more information. There's so much information out there, but they want the information from you and to hear your point of view. Because sometimes they need to hear it 7 times, and then when they hear it from you, the way you said it, it just clicks in and it makes sense for them. So that's what I did. I just processed and like, what are the things that I've learned that I can use to help other people? And I just started putting that out there.
Love that. Who do you love to work with? Like, who typically finds you? Is that other chiropractors? Because obviously you have that background, like, so there's that natural harmony there. But who typically comes to find you and that you've seen over time that you just love to work with and get the best results with?
And it's crazy because I wasn't trying to create another business. Like, I just was like, I just want to put out content that helps people. And I think that's why it was successful, because I wasn't just trying to like, okay.
You weren't trying to be famous.
Yeah, who can I serve and like what problem can I solve? How can I make money from it?
I want to help 1 million people lose weight. Yeah, whatever.
And how can I just make money from this? It was just truly a heart to serve people, and then people started leaning in. And because I did have a lot of influence, because I had success in chiropractic, I was speaking at a lot of chiropractic conventions and stuff, so I did attract a lot of chiropractors. And then it just kind of switched into just overall business owners. So I started doing business coaching. But what I really loved was, because all of the business owners, I could teach them how to leverage speaking to grow their business. Because that's how I grew our clinic. I would go out and was speaking multiple times a week. And I would speak to drive leads for our practice and to grow that business. So what I really loved is like helping the business owner, like how can they speak? How can they go to a podcast and actually drive leads for their business? So now I've shifted gears even again to the last TED Talk I just did was about how I overcame my fear of public speaking. So I help people overcome the fear, but then how do you craft a signature message that moves people and can actually grow your business? So that's what I'm doing now. Is one, if you're just people wanting to overcome the fear of public speaking, but really if you're a business owner, how do you leverage speaking to grow your business?
Okay, let's talk about that, because you just told me you're a terrible public speaker. You had all these biggest fears, and now this is like what you do for a living and help teach others. So talk to me about that growth curve. And again, it's always funny how you see these little threads in people's lives. They're paying to their purpose. You know, it's cliche, but you going underneath the raft, which led you to say, I'm playing too small, which led to your first TED Talk of, that comfort zone is actually your calling. And now you've got you're iterating in the business, and people are saying, Justin, like, I don't need the comfort of my calling. Now I need help with speaking, which you do very well. So it's like, oh, you want that? Well, let me show you, because I didn't naturally do it, but I do now. So talk to me about some of that growth and what led you, some of the steps that led you to not only being a polished, amazing speaker, but then teaching others.
Yeah, because this last TED Talk is how I overcame my fear of public speaking. And the whole reason I did that talk is because in 2022, when I did my first talk, people reached out and they're like, man, that's awesome. And I see you're speaking everywhere, which is a perfect example of social media is just the highlight reel. They saw me speaking, they saw the things that I was doing, but they said, it just comes so naturally to you. So I had to tell each one, I was like, this did not come natural to me. Like, I had a fear. Most of my life, I was terrified of public speaking. And in my TED Talk, I talked about it started even in the 2nd grade. That's the first memory I have of being terrified to speak, and it anchored in a belief, this is not for me. And fast forward even into college, I took a speech class and had a panic attack during my speech and almost failed a speech class. And that anchored it in even further. Like, you're not a speaker. This isn't for you. This is for the Joels of the world, all the people that go out there and speak. Like, that's for them, not for you. But I knew I just had this calling in my heart. Like, I want to speak. I have a message to share. And I believe everybody's got a message to share. So that's what I want to speak to the people who feel like that, who are like, man, I have this message on my heart, but I just don't know how to communicate. And I get nervous and I'm afraid. Hey, I was too. So if I could overcome this and not do one, but now 2 TED Talks, if you would have told me 10 or 15 years ago I would have been able to do a TED Talk, I would have said, you're crazy. But I was able to do it, but it's a skill. Like, you got to be able to learn the skill, develop the skill. Too many people, it's a mindset. You just think, okay, I just accept. This isn't for me. That's what most people would have done in my situation. Yep. This is not for me. I just live the rest of my life in my own little world, just doing this. And it's like, no. I see there's a gap there, but I can learn a skill and I can overcome that. And because I did, now I've been able to make an impact all over the world.
Yeah, huge. And when you don't play small, look at what happens. Like, so many good things happen. Talk to me about just why you believe speaking is one of the best ways to get leads, and probably high qualified leads. Then there's so many things we could be doing, right? You and I could be on Instagram trying to generate leads, run Facebook ads. We could do tons of things. So why do you feel like speaking is the best way for people in your industry?
Yeah, and I would say, speaking is the number one skill. So if somebody had to say, out of all your business expertise, I would say speaking is the number one skill that's generated the most business. And especially coming from me, being somebody who's terrified to speak, that can now say that anybody can do it. And the thing is, it's like, to take somebody from a complete stranger to a raving fan, the best thing to do is a dialed in signature speech. If they get to hear you speak and hear your heart, they get to know, like, and trust you. And that's what people want to do business with you. Do I like this person? Do I trust them? Before even can they solve my problem? Because they can look up and Google 500 other people that can solve their problem. They want to know, do I like them? Do I trust them? And how do they get to know, like, and trust you? Through speaking. And social media is a form of speaking. Yeah. Getting comfortable on camera. That's one of the things I do with people too, is how can you crush it on camera and build that confidence on camera? Because too many people that I see, they're great speakers, and then you give them a camera and they turn into this robot. And they can't even talk on social media. So it's like, okay, we got to fix that. But if you can learn how to communicate, you can build trust. And building trust leads to that community, and that community, you don't need more money, you need more people. And to get more people, learning to speak and communicate, that's how you build the people, because the people have the money.
So true. I remember I spoke at some event, actually I think it was a summit, and it was a very small amount of people in the audience. If I remember correctly. And I take that back. Actually, I take that back. Now I remember what it was. I spoke at a local jiu-jitsu gym for people. Yeah. And I didn't think anything. It was like literally probably 50 people, right? Yeah. But here's the deal. These people were my ideal client, and they were my ideal audience. So I've spoken also where there's hundreds of people in the room. Right. And guess how many leads I got? 0. Right. Because yeah, it was a great speech and it was a good audience, but none of these people needed what I actually do. Right. The 50 people in this jiu-jitsu gym, they were my ideal client, and I had like 5 people walk up to me right afterwards, like, how do I work with you? So to your point, it's getting right at the front of the right people and crafting that ideal speech. You can get instant clientele like right away. Right, and it is an art, and it's a skill to learn, because it's not just speaking. And I made a promise to myself a long time ago. I was like, I'm done just talking on stages. I want to be a speaker. And that's totally different. People can get up and just talk and just randomly give facts, and people can clap and be like, oh, that was good information. But a true speech, a speaker can move people. They can connect and get people to take an action. So that's really what I wanted to focus on, because then it goes back to, you do have to know who is your audience. How are you serving them? And because you can speak anywhere, but is it the right people I'm speaking to? And the cool thing is, that's social media opens you up to reach people all over. Because think about,
you flying here to Nashville, if there's a couple hundred people in here, it's cool to do all that, but there's a lot that goes into having to fly to Nashville, getting on a stage in front of people you don't even know it's your right audience. Well, you can open your phone and just talk to it right now and have a couple hundred people right there.
Right.
So that's the mentality shift people need to have is, man, it doesn't matter if 10, 50, 100 people watch your video. Well, think about getting 100 people to watch you from a stage. Like, that's a lot of work to get that.
Yeah.
You have that access right there. So just get used to talking in front of people in a way that's interesting to people, then actually connects with them and then moves them to take an action. Man, the speaking, it doesn't have to be on a stage. It can be on your phone. It can be summits. The cool thing I like to do is summits, podcast interviews, you get to leverage other people's audience.
Yeah.
There's people right now that are going to watch that have never heard of me, but they trust you. So they're like, hey, if he trusts to bring this guy on, maybe he's got something interesting to say.
Yeah.
So I love that, leveraging other people's audience.
Yeah, so key. I was thinking too, in your experience, TEDx sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Do you think in your opinion, have you pulled more clients or generated more revenue from a speech of that magnitude from TEDx? Or is it, like I mentioned, like actually that's great for branding, like good job, like everyone knows you're only the best, go to TEDx? Or was it some of those smaller speeches and the more intimate ones that actually drove more revenue, in your opinion?
Yeah, and it's like, because we're content creators, we're doing all the things. And that's the thing is you need to do everything.
Yeah.
So it's led to different things. It wasn't direct clients from it, but I did get more speaking gigs. Yeah. It did raise credibility and authority.
A lot more trust.
So yeah, so then people that don't see that, because it's cool, like people that don't even watch my TED Talk, but they just know that I did it, are more likely to hire me because of it, because there is a credibility and authority piece. Yep. But no, not actually the talk itself, because with TED, like there's nothing you can pitch. And even for me, I was just talking about me overcoming my own fear of public speaking. I wasn't there to sell anything. Because then a lot of people, I get a lot of people asking me like, how do I do a TED Talk? And they want to go in because they want to use it to grow their business. And that's the wrong mindset. It's like TED itself is all about having an idea worth spreading. So what idea do you have that can change the world?
Yeah.
That's what the heart you have to have going in. So if you have that heart, what's on your heart to share that you really think can make a difference in the world? And when you focus on that, you do get more people that come in and wonder, okay, what do you do? How can I work with this person? So it's a different mentality, but it is the smaller things, the people that are the right audience, that are wanting what you have, that's where you actually get the clients.
Yeah, so cool. Dude, talk to me about what's new and exciting for you in the business and just what you have up and coming projects that we can look out for.
Yeah, so right now I'm doing a podcast tour talking about the TED Talk. So if you guys are watching, go to YouTube, just search Justin Mosley on YouTube. You'll see my TED Talk, how I overcame my fear of public speaking, because I really do think it's a message that can change the world. Because I talk about, I believe everybody's got a message to share, and that's what I want. I want people to find their message, and I want to get them to get the confidence to share it. Because right now, no matter who it is, they have a message inside of them the world is waiting to hear. The things that they've been through, the challenges they faced, they can speak to someone else. So I want people to start sharing their message. So that's really my heart right now. And then, next week I'm flying out to Colorado, speaking at an event out there. August, I'll be in Idaho.
Idaho, that's where I'm at. So you got to come by and say hello. You're going to be in Boise?
Boise, yeah.
Okay, beautiful.
So we're in Boise,
shoot me a text
so
and we'll connect.
I'm heading out there. And then...
What's the event in Idaho that you're speaking at?
It is, it's called Simplified Functional Medicine. They're doing one of their live events. So, yeah.
Very cool.
I've got a few in September and October. I'm heading out to Vegas to be a Blue Wire studio out there to do a podcast. So it's a busy season, but it's been fun.
Yeah. Okay, so if people are listening and they want to connect with you because they resonate with your message and they want to obviously leverage the branding and pay the, as David Meltzer says, the dummy tax, right?
Yeah,
and just avoid all that and work with you. Where can they learn more about all the cool things that you're up to, your website, social media, etc.?
Yeah, Instagram is probably the best. So just at Dr.Justin Mosley. And I'm about to start pumping out a ton of content of just speaking tips. So if that's something you're interested in, I want to gain confidence in speaking, just start following me there. Reach out, DM. I'm in my DMs all the time. So I love having conversations with people. And then drjustinmosley.com. Mindshiftlinks.com. I've got a bunch of free resources there too. So feel free to check that out.
Amazing. Dr. Justin Mosley on the podcast. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you being on the show,
Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
So good.